Pleasure.
Welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show right here live on YouTube, presented by Go Chevrolet on what is starting off on a beautiful Monday morning. It is spectacular outside if you're moving around. Good morning. Nikki's here. Katie's here. Lloyd is here. Rivers is going to be shifting to behind the scenes. She'll be doing more social media work, doing all the social media work like she has. You won't see as much of her on set moving forward, but it is the Jordy Culotta Show here on this Monday morning. We're going to talk to Tom Hart coming up. Tom is going to be here. He was on the call over the weekend for LSU Basketball as the Tigers thrashed Auburn 104-80 for their third straight win. We will talk to Tom Hart of ESPN and the SEC Network coming up here at 7:30 this morning. Derek Stingley Sr. will be by at his regular 8 a.m. time. We'll talk to the coach about the offseason, some of the things happening right now. LSU gearing up for spring football practice. We'll ask him some of the emphasis, and as always, the things going on over at Elite Football Academy, just like we talk to Coach Sting every week here on the Jordy Culotta Show. And then at 8:45 this morning, at 8:30 this morning, we will talk to Buzzy Haydel, former LSU baseball player. He was on the call for a game this weekend for LSU Baseball. Tigers 1-1 after opening weekend. Louisiana Tech in town tonight. 10 minutes, it feels like spring weather is here. We'll talk to Dr. Steve Caparotta just to get a quick hitter on what the next couple of days will look like, what the week will look like. But we are daily brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Remember online, GEAUX Chevrolet.com, and daily our coffee is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Get in touch with Jason Ramazan and, of course, Mr. Charles Harvey over at Metropolitan Health Group as they bring you our coffee every single day here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We've got a lot to get to. We will get to the baseball weekend. We'll get to the basketball weekend, including the New Orleans Pelicans with their largest comeback in franchise history as they get a very exciting win yesterday.
Immediately after the largest complete collapse in a quarter in NBA history.
Yes.
Against the Suns, yeah.
Quite a couple days.
Well, they were up 18?
Yeah, like something like that in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they were up 18 on Friday night going into the fourth quarter versus Phoenix. They were up 11 and got beat by 18. They were up 11 going into the fourth quarter, ended up losing the game by 18 on Friday night. Turn the script to Sunday. Just flip it 48 hours later. Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram put together a very exciting day for the Pelicans. We'll talk about that coming up in a couple of minutes as Zion just bodied Tristan Thompson at the end of regulation to put that game into overtime, and New Orleans ends up winning it 120-115. So we'll talk about that coming up on the Jordy Culotta Show. How was everybody's weekend? Good weekend?
It was great.
Yeah?
Great weekend.
Great weekend.
Great weekend.
Weather was good?
Oh, yeah.
Felt like it was the freezing is gone finally.
Saturday, I was at the box.
Get on that
man.
microphone if you're going to talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
Come on.
Oh.
Katie's here. And we don't want to creep on her computer to see what she's surfing
What
on.
she is or
Watch
isn't
the
looking
scroll.
at. Yeah.
Watch the scroll.
That's right. What was the weekend
I
like?
was at the box, man. It felt
So you went to the
incredible.
box?
Yeah, felt
Okay,
incredible.
you experienced it. How was it?
It was awesome. I mean, it was just felt like good old days, you know. Felt good.
2,500 people? Is that the capacity?
Looked a little bit. Yeah, it was definitely a capacity. It looked pretty decently filled out. Yeah.
Lizzie, how was the weekend?
We got press passes. How are we getting to games here?
Jordy
Culotta Show's got press passes.
We'll see.
Credential, dude.
We'll see. It's a fight right now.
Yeah.
It's a fight right now for the Jordy Culotta Show.
Sneak in if you can.
The freezing weathers may be gone, but it still feels a little frigid out here. Still feels like might be trying to freeze the old Jordy Culotta Show out a little bit. That's all right. That's all right. We will prevail. How was the weekend, Lizzie?
Good, dude. Hit up Doe's on Friday.
Okay.
I know that's sorry to
Lot
the
of
Lord.
meat, lot of meat.
Yeah, I know that's a Lenten sin. But,
Yes.
I think whenever we get to those pearly gates, we'll have that conversation.
Bring me back to that February of 2021. What were you thinking?
What was going on?
A lot of studying for your boy again in the books. I mean, if I fail this test for as much as I put out, I haven't studied like this. I never studied for a final like this in college, high school, etc.
ACT prep.
ACT, are you kidding me? So, I mean, like, if this does not work out, I'm dumb because I have looked at
Not for
this
lack of
thing,
effort.
and I've still got 1 week. Still got 1 week.
see,
it's
this one
1
you normally
week
would
from
have
today.
started.
That's right.
It's on a Monday?
It's on a Monday at
Oh.
11, Coach.
Jay.
Pre-lunch.
Yay.
Post-show, pre-lunch.
Post-show, pre-lunch. Where do you eat? When do you get the last-minute crams
No.
in? I'm starting to stress a little bit. I know.
You're going to be studying on the show Monday.
I
That's
know.
what we'll do. We'll do a little quiz for you.
Okay. All right. All right. I like that.
I got
It's
some
the
that.
JC show, so mortgage questions.
That'll be so interesting.
Yes. That ought to keep them. That ought to keep them engaged.
What do you make a year?
Right? All right. So the Jordy Culotta Show, the weekend was great. We're going to talk to Dr. Steve Caparotta coming up here in a couple of minutes. Is Dr. Cap hopefully going to give us some signs of good news on the horizon as far as the weather is concerned? It looks like the freezing weather, hopefully, is on its way out. Let's start with baseball because we're going to talk about it here in about an hour and a half. We're going to have Buzzy on at 8:30 this morning, so we'll talk a lot about some sports and the weekend stuff, including LSU football picking up another wide receiver recruit over the weekend. Tigers turning into wide receiver U here early on. But the baseball game and the baseball weekend, Nikki was out there, and my point of view was just kind of going back social media, watching what I could. Jaden Hill looked dominant on Friday as he got the second victory of his career on Saturday. Hill pitched 4 scoreless innings, allowed just 4 hits. He struck out 5, including 3 in the first inning. He showed off everything. Everything we've heard about Jaden Hill is that he is a top-line ace. He is a true top-line ace for LSU baseball. And you've seen so many come through this program, right? I mean, whether it's Alex Lang, whether it's Aaron Nola, whether it's Anthony Renato, whether it's just the list, the list goes on and on. I mean, you can even go back to the skip days of Ben McDonald, Paul Bird, Mike Sorotka, all those guys that came through here. Chad Ogier, Jaden Hill. We've heard people comment could be the most talented out of all of them, and I thought on Saturday he was showing that. Not just the size and the stature and how intimidating he is on the mound. It's the fact that he's got the array of pitches. He's got the 95 to 96 mile an hour fastball that he was touching on Saturday. But then he's got the best changeup in the country where he pulls the string on it and he makes people look like fools. He was showing off on Saturday. I hope they can get to a point where they don't have to rest him, where they have to get into some situation where there's some arm problems, because it looks like they're dealing right now with Fontenot.
And that's always been the case with LSU baseball.
Always.
Yeah. Always something.
Always.
You know, preseason, we look at the lineup and we see all the studs we have. Dylan Cruz looks like he's going to be everything that they thought he would be.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
And then it's always something. It always pops up. And I think, people are complaining about what we did in game 2, but it's the idea of resting arms and getting people ready for the season when it really matters.
Yeah, and look, he was touching 98 on Friday. I mean,
and that's without anybody in the box, dude. If that place was juiced, like if you're going full capacity, he's gonna touch 100.
Yeah. And waiting to see what the diagnosis is on DiGiacomo. I think that's another storyline that we'll be watching coming out of opening weekend, because it looks like he might be banged up right now going into game 3 tonight versus Louisiana Tech. Yesterday was tough, right? I mean, yesterday was a tough one for LSU to swallow, as they're up 1 going into the 9th. And you're just not able to close that thing. Air Force scored 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning, which was a pair of bases loaded walks. They had a sac fly. They won the game 6-4. Landon Marceau started for LSU. He pitched 5 innings as well. He allowed 2 hits, struck out 4 in his 2021 debut. He was also charged with 2 unearned runs. Dylan Cruz smashed a home run in the 9th to feel like LSU had a shot there, but they just fell off 6-4 yesterday in game 2. Tonight will be Louisiana Tech, and we'll talk about it with Buzzy Haydel. But obviously, the takeaways of the weekend is that Jaden Hill is special. I mean, he is absolutely everything that we thought he was going to be. I just hope he can stay healthy through this run, because we saw it, as we said. We've seen already some arm troubles start to creep up on LSU, which has been a storyline that has plagued this program over the past couple of seasons. And Paul Manera, you can hear his displeasure, you can hear his anger, his frustration when he speaks about this publicly now, just because it's been so prevalent. I mean, it's just been it seems like it's a storyline year in, year out at LSU. So we'll see. I think that they're going to continue to experiment. I think they're still looking for a third baseman. I'd imagine that Will Safford will get a chance. But as One Team One Podcast says, pitching and errors killed LSU because they struggled on run production. Matthew Chauvin says the starting rotation is really good. I think that everyday shortstop has been found in Zach Arnold. He smashes the ball too. With talent in the freshman class, Matthew Chauvin has confidence the hitting will be good moving forward. I agree. I think that baseball in general around this time of the year, especially down in this part of the country, when the weather starts to warm up, when the ball starts to move, I think you'll see the production from a hitting standpoint go up with what LSU has been dealing with. Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com if you want to get in touch with Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and the crew. They've got all types of make and models for you to shop down at Go Chevrolet. Stop in and see them. They're in Laplace, Louisiana, as it is a very convenient drive, whether you're going to New Orleans, if you're heading south on I-10, or even if you're heading back up this way, a convenient stop off the interstate in Laplace. Stop and see Nick Richard and Lee Carney. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show to get the best deals on the newest Chevrolets by Go Chevrolet. All right, pipe me up right here. I'm going to call Dr. Caparotta and see if we can't get a quick update on what the weather. See if these baseballs will start moving out the park a little quicker here. As we link up with the meteorologist here of the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Steve Caparotta, who I know is working the mornings at WAFB, Doc, so we'll get you in and out of here. I hope you had a good weekend. Thank you for your time. This is a beautiful Monday morning. What does the future look like, and are the cold temperatures in the rearview mirror?
Definitely warmer throughout the week this week, and we're hitting that time of year where hopefully we're done with the freezes. It's not out of the question. We could still squeeze out a freeze or two. But right now, the outlook definitely looks like the next week to 2 weeks should be trending warmer. One exception is tonight, tomorrow morning, still going to be kind of cold. We'll get down to the mid-30s. But after that, it's going to be a pretty significant change. It's got us in the 70s starting on Wednesday, and in the 70s through at least the weekend.
5 o'clock first pitch this afternoon at the box, Skip Bertman Field between LSU and Louisiana Tech. You mentioned that it could be a little chilly this afternoon. How's it looking around that time?
I'm going to close out this forecast, unlike the game yesterday.
Welcome aboard, Doc.
No, it's looking pretty good. You definitely, anybody's going out there is going to want a little jacket or something. It'll start out probably in the low 60s and fall into the low 50s, but should be a pretty good night for baseball.
Dr. Steve Caparotta, he is on the desk right now on WAFB's morning show. So if you're moving around, you're in your house and you're getting out on the streets and you need the latest on traffic, you need the latest on weather, remember, tune into Channel 9 WAFB as Dr. Caparotta is the meteorologist there. And anytime we have a weather question, we check in with him. He is on Twitter at SteveWAFB. That's at SteveWAFB. Thank you, Doc. We'll talk again soon.
All right, sounds good.
Yes, sir. There he is, Dr. Steve Caparotta, checking in from WAFB this morning. That's good news as he gives you the latest on what the week could look like and what this afternoon will look like around 5 o'clock for the opening pitch versus Louisiana Tech. Jude Sansing asking for a DiGiacomo update on anyone. I don't think there's anything official there. I think everybody's got their fingers crossed for the best of news, and I think Paul Maneri will definitely be asked about that when he meets with the press throughout today and definitely in the post game tonight for Game 3 versus Louisiana Tech. Cody Boudreaux inside of the bunker. The girlfriend hates when I do a super chat, so let me start the week off right. Easy, Cody. With the $5 donation there. Wow, bro, it's a beautiful Monday morning, Cody.
It must be a beautiful Monday morning from the doghouse.
Yeah, really.
What happened?
Good Lord. Let's see. Trent J-Rowe, what did Helmer's show at third base during the fall? He looks like a pitcher, both fielding and hitting. The other infielders look solid offensively and defensively. Yes, like we said, I think that you will continue to see experiments at third base. My vote, and I'm biased, is Will Safford. I think that Safford, the young freshman out of University High, he's got great energy, great athleticism. and I think he gives you a really nice option there at third base. We'll wait and see what Coach Maneri decides to do coming up here. We're going to talk to Tom Hart at 7:30 this morning about LSU basketball, and the Tigers are rolling right now as they looked fantastic. Defensively, really, to me, is the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, offensively, they had their best offensive showing since like the 90s. It was the first time they scored 100 in a conference game since like 94.
94, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, I think we've always known that this team is going to be they're going, when they are right, they're going to be tough. Defensively has always been the question on, can they get right in enough time to get this thing ready for March? And it seems like over the last 2 weeks, specifically over the last 3 games, Wade and his crew have done a tremendous job of just getting this team ready. I thought that it was a miss on not being able to play Ole Miss in between Tennessee and Auburn. That week off looks like they took
energy.
Total advantage of
They
it.
did.
Not only did they have their energy right, I mean, they look so much more well coached up, whether it be on the special teams part of the game, on the in and out of bounds. They are much more efficient there where they're getting buckets under the
Stole a
inbounds.
couple, yeah.
Absolutely. Even defensively, the way they're guarding inbounds has improved. I think Wade, Bill Armstrong, Kevin Nickelberry, Tasman Mitchell, the entire coaching staff over there at LSU Basketball deserve a ton of credit for what they have going on right now, because LSU, they're a scary matchup right now. And what you want is you want to be playing right now.
Exactly. This is the
going
time you want to be
into
improving.
March. Or at least you want to start be starting to refine getting right,
Definitely.
which LSU has started to do. I mean, they've
100%.
started to turn the tanker and get into the right direction. At some point, it looked like this thing was just going to get jammed up, and they might have made the NIT. I mean, they're trending towards a 7-6 seed at this point.
Because I stopped tweeting.
You did.
Yeah, yes,
Thank you.
exactly, yeah.
'Cause I
Thank
stopped
you.
tweeting.
Did you tweet during the Mississippi State game?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh. Speaking of Ole Miss basketball,
Not any good?
they
No,
lost.
they
Yeah, I know.
lost.
I know.
Mississippi
Yeah, I know.
State.
I know. I know.
Mississippi
Yes,
State.
yes,
Now,
yes.
speaking
Yeah.
of,
Hello.
lucky we didn't get North Carolina. They put a shellacking on Louisville, 99-54.
But you know what? I kind of thought to myself when I saw that score, LSU and North Carolina both started this season a little under the radar,
Right.
a team with some expectation that were probably underachieving, especially within their own locker room. And to this point of the season, or at this point in the season, a potential matchup, bro, you would have learned a lot
That would've been
about
such a
both
good
teams.
game. That would be a tournament
You know what I
game.
mean? That
Yeah.
was a tournament game,
Yeah.
an absolute
Yeah.
tournament game.
loved to have
So
seen
I would
that.
have loved to have seen it, but either way, it's still good vibes around the LSU basketball team. I mean, you've got Josh LeBlanc really starting to play well, starting to figure out his role. Cam Thomas, who's the reigning SEC player and freshman of the week, had 27.
I think he might get it again.
His 15th 20-point game of the season, man. And Thomas, I thought better for it, only 7 of 16 from the field. I mean, usually at the beginning of the season, we were seeing terrible shot selection
24
to
shots.
get
Yeah.
to that 25,
Right.
28-point
Right.
range. Now only seeing 16. He's distributing. I think that there was a lot of excitement trending around this LSU basketball team. As we said, Saturday's 104 points, most by an LSU basketball squad in the SEC since 1994. Tigers have won 3 in a row. They're 10-2 at home this season. They shot 53% for the game on Saturday. They made 11 three-pointers. They out-rebounded Auburn 47-39 and outscored them in the paint 50-38. They also chipped in 25 points on fast break opportunities. I mean, that's just really good basketball.
Yeah.
Not only are you playing fast, athletic with the fast break points that show there with the 25 points, but you're dominating in the paint. You're dominating on the glass, which Wade was searching for so much within the start of the season. I mean, you could just, whether it was see him or hear him speak, you could sense the frustration oozing out of him about the rebounding
It was
stat.
every press conference. Definitely. I mean, he made a big point of that, especially after Tech. I think you saw them really improve that defensive effort against Tech, but still the glass wasn't there.
Well, that's how they got beat.
Yeah.
He gave up the offensive rebound to Mac McClung at the end of the game, and he brings it behind the 3-point line, and they lose the game. That was Auburn's worst loss of the season.
That was LSU's best game of the season by far.
Well, I think Gonzaga beat Auburn earlier this year by 18. I mean, Gonzaga's the number one team in the country. LSU beat them by 23 on Saturday, and it never felt close.
I think Auburn game showed you, if you ever had any doubt about Darius Day's role in the team.
Yeah.
I mean, he just put it away. I mean, this dude is absolutely electric for this team. He's the heart and soul.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway from the game. It seems like everybody's finding what their role actually is. Javonte Smart hasn't been on this side of a stretch since he's been at LSU. He looks so good.
John Brady said it last week, and I listened to the game while watching it on the radio. I love to listen to Brady just break down the game.
He's so good.
I had it turned down and was listening to him, and he was talking about Javonte, how he's probably the best guard in the conference right now. You know, I mean, you've not seen him get to a clip where he's playing this confident with the shots that he's taking, the way that he's distributing. I thought that there was a little oil and water feel around Cam Thomas and Javonte Smart at the beginning of the season.
Who's the dog? You know,
Yeah,
they were trying to fight for that little alpha role.
you could see Cam standing in an open spot where that was his, kind of his benefit, a catch and shoot guy, and Javonte may have passed on that pass, right? And thought, like, let me make the play. Now you're seeing him play like a true point guard, where he is distributing first, but he's always had the confidence and that killer mentality of a scorer. But now he's deadly from behind the three-point line. I mean, not only is he taking, he's making his shots, but it's timely shots. When he's making the shots, he's
just got such a good feel for the game
LSU
right now. He's got such a good feel for what's going on, when he needs to shoot, when he needs to distribute. And I think he's been the difference along with Darius Days.
I mean, and you're talking about them finding their roles and stuff. They had Coach Cal on some show on ESPN Radio, I think, over the weekend. And he was talking about how, like, really in the beginning of the season up to now, everybody's kind of been playing for themselves. Like, what can I get? Let me get mine. And at this point in the season, everyone's been gelling a little bit more. He says that work would have been something you do in fall. And that's just something they haven't had the opportunity to do that since the fall. It's just an example of how this season's kind of turning the whole league on its head.
Yeah, and I thought, I thought that, from where they are to where they were to where they are now, that has been the biggest change. The change of individual mentality of transforming into a team rather than a group of individuals that were looking to get theirs. Yeah. I think Javonte was a great example of that. I love Javonte Smart. Been watching him since he was in 7th grade at Parkview before he went to Scotlandville. Baton Rouge kid who we love to see succeed. But I thought at points in times this year, he was not helping his team the most. I thought that he was making the play that was best for Javonte, not for LSU basketball. And now he's making those plays. Trenton Watford, another one. The first 20 minutes we saw him play against Tennessee 2 weeks ago, that's the best I've seen him play at LSU. Since then, he's capitalized and grown off of that. Even the role players, you brought up Darius Days, and Days is an obvious one. He is a guy that is, without him in the lineup, you can just see the holes, whether it be on the glass, whether it be big shots, whether it be big possessions on the floor. It's a team that is kind of looking around for somebody to step up and make a play. And Days rolls the ankle on Saturday, gets back in the game, keeps them flowing. I love this LSU basketball team right now. I'm looking forward to talking to Tom Hart, who was on the call for ESPN, about what his potential or what his thoughts are on the Tigers right now, because it really seems like they are playing right at the right time, or they are starting to play right. You don't want to peak too early. You don't want to get into a role where your confidence is you're a little overconfident. Going into March, you still want to be figuring some things out, but it looks like it is working at a very, very rapid pace right now for LSU, because over the last 3 games they have just looked like a totally different team. They have looked like a totally different program. Edward Jones brings you the Jordy Culotta Show daily here on YouTube. Remember, over at Edward Jones, we deal with Daniel Newman. He's the best. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. Katie and I are going to be meeting Daniel today for lunch over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Always looking forward to our trips over to Phil's, but looking forward to our conversation with Daniel Newman. He told us that he was going to make financial planning for us very easy. We've had one meeting, and it was simple. He's got it set up on the app over there, keep up with all the numbers. He's open as far as the communication goes. You can get him at any time. In fact, you want to email him at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com, but you can also get in touch with Daniel this morning by just giving him a call over at his office and that's a 225 area code, 225-261-8262, as his office is located in Magnolia Square out there in central Louisiana. And remember, if you are working at the plants, if you are at Exxon, if you are at Dow, if you are at BASF and you're curious about how the financials are set up, what it looks like post-work for you, whether it be Social Security, benefits, 401k, all of that. Daniel Newman knows that inside and out. You need to get in touch with him this morning.
He's taking you to lunch after your test, he said.
Oh, thank you,
How
Daniel.
about that? There we go,
Yeah.
Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
MVP.
Thank you, Daniel. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. When we come back, we will talk to Tom Hart, as old Tommy Hart was on the call Saturday on ESPN. We'll ask him his thoughts overall of the conference. Tennessee was rolled up by Kentucky on Saturday. What's going on in the conference right now? We'll also get a little thought from him on baseball. You know, he's a hybrid. Tommy's a hybrid. They can put him on the call for football. They can put him on the basketball, the baseball call. He's one of the best in the business. We'll talk to Tom Hart next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the South Downs Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on.
You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show with Rivers Huey, presented by Go Chevrolet.
Chevrolet. If you missed it at the top of the show, we announced Rivers, still a part of the show for sure. She is going to start working a little bit more behind the scenes, just managing the social media. Hopefully, we'll be able to get her into studio, a couple days. But I think she'll be behind the scenes now. She got the kids at home, and she did so much for us to get us off the ground and to get us where we are right now. She'll be working a little bit more behind the scenes on the social media stuff. But we always appreciate what she is doing for the Jordy Culotta Show. We will talk to Derek Stingley Sr., coming up here in 30 minutes, and we will talk to Buzzy Haydel, who was on the call for LSU Baseball over the weekend. But next, we link up with one of our favorites, Tommy Hart, who is he is a man of many talents. It doesn't matter if you put him on baseball, basketball, or football. He can make the call, and as he is showing off his versatility this morning, I believe he is in the carpool line. Tom, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Jordy, what's up? Yeah, we first day driving carpool this year.
Whew.
I'm not as lazy as it sounds. They only started going to school last week. So,
wow. Is young Liza in the car?
Lizzie is here, yeah.
All right, Lizzie, have a great day back.
Thank you.
Tom, how was the weekend? LSU seems to be playing right at the right time from a basketball standpoint. You were on the call Saturday. It was the first time LSU had scored 100 in a conference game since 1994. But as we said in the opening part of our show, I think that the difference has been the defense. What have you made of Will Wade's crew?
Yeah, they look great. I mean, there are a lot of different options with this team offensively, as we all know. Cam Thomas can score against anybody. He's got a unique way of, I was going to say getting open, but the guy really doesn't even need to be open to get a shot off. He's just, he knows where to go to get buckets. And, you know, that's a scorer's mentality. It was interesting. I told this story on the air, but had a game earlier this season where, you know, surprise, he went for 25. I think he's got 12 25-point games, which is the most by any freshman in the country, maybe anybody in the country. And I said, hey, man, where do you like to go on the floor to score? And the backdrop to that is when Derrick Rose was at Memphis, he was really struggling his freshman year, you know, for a guy who's going to be the number one pick. And so John Calipari, after practice one day, and I happened to be there, was like, hey, man, where do you like to score? And D. Rose was like, I hadn't thought about it. He goes, no, every scorer thinks about it. Where do you go? And he's like, top of the key, elbow jumper, and to the rack. And Cal said, all right, from now on, those are the only shots you're taking. And he took off, and he ended up being the number one pick in the draft because he went where he was comfortable. Cam Thomas is comfortable anywhere on the floor. So when I asked him that question, I go, where do you like to go on the floor to score? And he's like, everywhere. Yeah. Like it wasn't cocky, but it was just kind of non-assuming. Like, hey man, you don't get it. You don't think like I do. I can have the ball in my hand anywhere 94 feet, and I can get a bucket. And that's going to be invaluable come crunch time and come postseason.
He is the SEC Freshman of the Week right now, as he is the reigning SEC Freshman of the Week. But Myron Metcalf, who you work with over at ESPN, wrote an article last week on .com saying that right now he's got him as the Conference Player of the Year. You've been around the conference. You've seen all the teams play. Where do you have him in the pecking order?
Well, that's certainly shifted over the last couple of weeks. Herbert Jones was the favorite, I think. Oh, no doubt he was the favorite. The way Alabama was playing, and Herbert doesn't fill up the stat sheet in the scoring column, obviously like Cam does, but most important player on the best team in the league and does a lot of little things well. He's been bothered by an injury. He fouled out with just 8 points the other day. They didn't look super sharp, but they're still the best team in the league. Yeah, I mean, I'd have him there. I think the difference between the SEC and other leagues, or the SEC this year versus years past, is as much as Cam can score, there are a lot of options offensively for LSU. They can go different directions, obviously, with Javonte and Darius and Trenton. In the same breath, like the other good SEC teams, they don't have outright scores. They don't have dudes that just go get buckets. Tennessee is on pace for its leading scorer being the least productive from a scoring standpoint because of their balance in something like 20 years. Mm-hmm. And Alabama's the same way because they have so much balance. But yeah, if he keeps this up and LSU continues winning, I see no reason why not. Have a great day at school, sweetie.
Yes, look at him. Look at Tommy. Have a great day, Lizzie. Javonte Smart, John Brady was on this show Friday calling him the best guard in the league over the last 2 weeks. You've seen him play for the last 3 years. What do you make of his game right now?
Yeah, that's interesting. Over the last 2 weeks, I gotta look closer at what Arkansas has done over the last couple of weeks. They are red hot right now. They've won 8 in a row, I think it is, 8 conference games in a row. They had the stumble against Oklahoma State. They're getting great guard play. I mean, they're getting it from a lot of different dudes. It's really interesting because when I had him last week or 2 weeks ago, he took some shots that had, listen, shot selection these days and with this tempo is less important than it's ever been. So if you start complaining about it, you look like a get off my lawn guy.
Right.
So I don't want to be that guy. But he took one like where he dribbled over from half court, kind of on the logo. Nobody else touched it. Beat askew and just jacked it up. And he missed it, right? If you make those shots, like, dude, do it every time down the floor.
Fire him up.
Yeah, fire him up. I think what happens within the scope of this offense is Cam spends so much time hunting his shots. And Dallin Cuff talked about this on the air the other day. There are plenty of shots to go around because of the tempo and because there's really 3 main scorers and plus Darius, so 3.5. So it's not like you're trying to share the ball with 9 dudes. It's like you're trying to share the ball in the possessions with 4 guys. And that works. I just think Javonte, I think they're within the scope of the game, the way Cam hunts his shots, it seems to me that some of the other guys get the, it's my turn to shoot mentality. Like, all right, dude, you've had 4 in a row. I better get one up before he does.
Right.
That's just me as an observer. I could be totally wrong on that. But he doesn't have to be perfect because the offense that they're running, like they've got to be good in transition. They've got to be better in transition defense. But he's not asked to be perfect. You saw the strain that was on Sharif Cooper for Auburn. It was going to be a lottery pick, best point guard in the league. But, from a future standpoint, right,
sure.
If you're buying stock, best point guard in the league. But he's got a lot of strain on him because he's got to be good or Auburn can't win. I view it as Javonte's got a little bit more wiggle room to kind of be himself, and that can be very freeing, especially for a point guard.
Tom, Coach Wade had a comment in his recent press conference talking about this is what I think, and guess what? I'm the only one whose opinion matters in this thing. And we've seen a big turnaround in LSU's overall style of play since around like the Texas Tech game. What do you think that kind of attitude and that kind of way of saying, no, they had no input, I had all the input, what kind of effect does that attitude have on the team and their turnaround?
Well, I missed that comment. That was in regard to what?
He's just talking about what he told his team in terms of like fixing the defense and doing things in that kind of way.
Yeah, players want to be coached, man. I mean, they want direction as much as they may push back when they're with their buddies. They want to know where the boundaries are, and they want somebody in charge making a decision. I mean, this happens to me sometimes. I don't know if anyone can relate to this. I'm not, like I said, I'm driving carpool today, but I'm not Mr. Mom. Like, I don't do a really good job at that. Truth treat, I could be better, right? As a dad and a husband, like I could make dinner every once in a while, just not just steak on the grill. But that's not necessarily the way the chores are divvied up in our house. So my wife will come to me and she'll be like, "Yo, I made the dinner menu every day for 3 weeks. Could you please come up with something? I'm tired of making decisions." Yeah, I'm like, yeah, how about some fillets? It sounds great. I want my wife to make those decisions,
Yes.
Players want coaches
Coach me.
to make decisions for them. I'll tell you what's really interesting about Will, and we did not get into this conversation the other day. It just kind of fell on the cutting room floor, so to speak. But we're talking about the strength of the league. And I don't know that he said this publicly before. And this was just in a conversation with me and Dallin. but it was for air, and we could have aired it. We just didn't get to it. He's like, listen, this league is as strong as it's ever been, even at the top end. He said the problem is it's not Kentucky.
Yeah.
And he wasn't bashing Kentucky. On the contrary, he said, guys, we're better off when Kentucky is doing well. He goes, I want Kentucky to win. I want Kentucky to be a top 5 team. And we're just kind of like, come on, man, right? I've never heard an SEC coach say, man, I wish John Calipari was doing better. And we kind of half scoffed, like, you don't really mean that. And he's like, no, dude, seriously, like, it's better for our league and for the respect we get when we beat them, and for everybody else from the way our league is viewed, if Kentucky's doing well. And he's like, I want them to win. I want them to do well. Now, obviously, I want to beat them when we play them, but I want Kentucky to do well. And I just thought that was really refreshing to hear a coach say that. You know, there's a lot of competition and ego when it comes to these guys. I think that probably goes without saying. But there are coaches in the league and anywhere in college basketball that think that if I compliment the other guy, it's going to make me look weak, or it's going to take something away from me. Maybe that goes back to recruiting, which I've never had to do before. But I just thought that was refreshing to hear him say it, and I think it's true. I think Alabama is a legit 2 seed. They have an outside chance at a 1. There's probably only one number 1 seed left, the way Michigan played yesterday, the way they've been playing. But there's a chance if they were wearing Kentucky across their chest instead of Alabama, they'd probably be a 1 right now. So it's just a matter of perception.
Speaking of coaches, Tom, how far have you fallen down the Ted Lasso rabbit hole?
Oh, my God, I love it.
How good is that?
So, I don't mind being a late adopter, right, because it's new to me. And quite frankly, I've been pretty slumped with a bunch of other stuff. So finally I sit down the other night. I was like, I got nothing to do. I got that. Let's go. Let's fire up Ted Lasso. What a great show. So I tweeted out that I was getting ready to go down, step into the universe. And the creator of the show tweets me back, and he's like, hey, let me know what you think.
Oh
Wow.
No way.
It's already been renewed for season 2 and 3. I think it's doing all right.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Wait, so did you give him a review?
Yeah. I said this is, first of all, I said Ted Lasso is the most likable character I can remember in television movie. I like just so likable, right? And then I said this is the perfect blend of Bull Durham, SEC Saturday Night, a little self-promotion, Cougar Town, and there was one more in there. I can't remember the last one that I threw in there. It's kind of got a little Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to it. The equipment guy, it's got a little bit of Waterboy to it. I mean, it's got like
It hits all the high
bunch
notes.
I know. I love
It hits
it.
all the high notes, like all the sports movies you'd like that has characters with redeeming qualities. Like, it's in there. And by the way, so I'm only through 4.5 episodes, so don't ruin anything for me.
Yeah.
But there's that Bull Durham relationship with the veteran player versus the rookie. Like, I mean, it's great, man. It's I can see why people fell in love with it when it first came out, because this year sucks, man, and everybody needs
a little positivity.
everybody
never
needs
hurt.
a mental health, right? A little mental health pick me up goes a long way. So it's very much appreciated.
Tom Hart is joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You can hit him on Twitter at Tom_Hart. He is all over the SEC network, as you can hear him on the call. He was on the LSU basketball call this past Saturday. But I imagine that you are in preparation for baseball season, because we can hear you on all 3 of the major sports in the SEC network: football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and baseball in the spring. What has this year been like? You mentioned that you haven't had any free time in such a long time, and that's pretty understandable in your position. But you've also been calling games, doing the play-by-play from your basement over the past couple of months. What has what has the preparation, what has work, what has gone into your job, and how different has it been over the last calendar year and moving forward? How much do you anticipate? How much more do you anticipate of this?
Yeah, I think it's the new normal, which is very abnormal for me. I'm glad you asked about baseball, by the way, because we were able to, the earliest I could remember, get a baseball game on TV on Friday. We had number 1 Florida in Miami to open the season, and I'm thrilled for college baseball season. Ole Miss had a great weekend. They're the new Baseball America number 1. I think they'll be. By the way, can we get more polls in college baseball? There's only like 17.
I mean, really,
Seriously.
it's not enough.
25.
The
So
Jordy Culotta Show poll.
Yes, seriously, put it out and it'll get traction. It's not much fun, to be honest with you. I mean, we talk about like all the high notes of Ted Lasso. This doing games from home, it's all the low notes. I mean, I am thankful that we have games. I am thankful for the SEC that they've been a leader in the college sports landscape to get players on the field to play games, no matter the sport. I mean, for example, Big Ten baseball hasn't started. They won't start for a week or two. They're only playing conference games. It's ridiculous in a lot of different ways. But what I enjoy about my job is being around people, whether it's coaches or players or the people I work with. Producers, directors, cameramen, folks in tape, whatever. I'm working with people. Honestly, guys, I'm working with people I've never met before. Never met. And it's hard from a relationship standpoint, from a work relationship standpoint. It can be difficult to see what I need to see as a broadcaster. I'm used to getting trashed on Twitter. It's kind of a fun parlor game to play.
Amen.
But I do want to respond. Like what I've been getting lately is, hey, dude, could you just do your job and tell me who the foul was on? And I just want to scream into the void like, yo, bro, if I knew who the foul was on, I would say it. I had no idea.
I'm sitting in my living room, bro, watching the game just like you are.
Waiting for the numbers on the
you are
fingers.
literally closer to the PMAC than I am right now. So how about you walk over there, you tell me who the foul is.
Tom Hart, ESPN, SEC Network announcer, joining us here. You mentioned Kentucky and your conversations with Will Wade. I've heard him say the same thing, that the league is better and that the demand is better for basketball in the SEC when Kentucky is right. It seems like they're getting right. LSU is now tied for second with Arkansas, who they square off this week. What do you make of the conference right now going into March?
Yeah, you look forward to Nashville. I think that thing's going to be wide open. I mean, it's always been the Kentucky Invitational. It seems to be in their DNA, even though like none of these guys in this uniform have played in the SEC tournament before. Maybe it's just a comfort level thing. I don't know. Arkansas is playing incredibly well. They are red hot. The only thing hotter is going to be my coffee. So you guys, this is great. This is great morning radio, Jordy.
Yes.
Has anyone ever told you you look like Morgan McFarland?
It's Jordy. May I have a venti vanilla latte, please?
That's not Jordy. That sounds like Tom Hart.
That's it.
Oh,
I think.
good price.
Got that Hart special this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, so I apologize
No
for doing that,
problem.
but that's
This happens more
Florida
often than you
here.
would think on this show.
No problem at all, buddy. No problem at all. You can't
you guys
beat
are
the real
getting
life
the Tom
stuff.
tour. No, the league's playing great. I think one team to keep in mind that has more impressive wins than anybody, kind of based on the weird non-conference portion of the schedule, is Missouri was able to get some really good games. They went to Omaha to play Oregon, which only makes sense if you're playing Oregon Trail. They avoided the dysentery. They got the win. They got Illinois to come to their place. They went to Wichita State. They won all of those games. That Illinois win looks more impressive every day. And they've had some trip ups in conference play, but they just got Jeremiah Tillman back. He had missed a couple games due to the death of his grandma, and they dominated South Carolina this weekend. So the top half of the league, once you go into Nashville, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's going to be totally up for grabs. I think a big question going into all conference tournaments, and the SEC is no exception, is what is the program and individual motivation? This, by the way, this guy loves to talk as I pull up to the window. What is the motivation, and will teams do well? Hey, good morning. Yeah, how are you?
Great to see you again.
So the question is, like, do teams find thanks. See you tomorrow. Do teams find motivation in winning the whole thing? Are they going there to stay fresh, and are they looking forward to getting to Indianapolis? Or are there teams on the bottom end, especially, who say, "Man, we're just over this deal. Like this season has been stressful. We're done." And so I think motivation is going to be a key factor in what happens. I think everybody's going to have something to play for. I think I could convince you to put money on anybody to win the thing because the talent that's spread out through the league, like Vandy's got an incredible duo with Pippen and Disu. I only wonder about teams like South Carolina and Texas A&M who've had such crazy interruptions with COVID, and what's their mentality going to be at the end of the season? Are they going to be? We saw a lot of football teams say, "You know what, we're good. We don't need to go to a bowl." Just because of the strain everybody's been through. So I'm curious what it's going to look like once these teams get to Nashville.
Tom Hart, our favorite, the voice of the SEC network. They should make this man the ABC SEC network game play-by-play and voice when they make that decision. Do you think that I will see you over a meal in Baton Rouge in football season, that you will call a game in a full capacity Tiger Stadium? Just from your point of view, do you think that will happen?
Yeah, I said what we're doing is the new normal. I think we'll get back on the road for football, but I think the rest of the sports, football is obviously the economic driver of all of this. I wouldn't be surprised if we're done traveling for college basketball and college baseball for, until the next pandemic comes around, and a pandemic that chases us out of our houses and into airplanes. It's just the new economic model, which is a shame. But, football, I'm sure we'll be back on the road in August, September, and I look forward to run into all y'all when we get there.
Great call over the weekend for LSU and on Saturday as they got the win versus Auburn. Have a good week ahead. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for always for your time.
Yeah, man. By the way, we'll do it again, too. I got LSU Georgia on Tuesday, and maybe next time you guys could come along to the hardware store with me, maybe dry cleaners, swing by the grocery,
just a
whatever.
Tommy Tuesday. We'll check in for a Tommy Tuesday for him. Thank you very much, man.
Tommy Tuesday tour. All right, y'all be good.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Tom.
See you. There he is. Tom Hart checking in from Atlanta this morning as he runs through Carpool and gives a little insight of the SEC. There from a basketball standpoint and a little bit from a baseball standpoint, and gives you the point of view
A day in the life.
of being a commentator right now for major college sports, where, he called that game from his living room on Saturday. It's just kind of wild to think about. Remember, over here at the Jordy Culotta Show Daily, we are brought to you by Falaya Real Estate. If you're looking to sell your house by yourself and you want to save thousands, Falaya is a do-it-yourself for selling your own home. You get exposure on MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, and all the major sites. You can take virtual tours. You can get push-button offers. You can get it, man. It's so easy that even I could sell my house if I wanted to. Get in touch with my friend, Barrett Blondo. Been my friend for over 35 years. Look, everything else has changed. Isn't it time technology made buying and selling a house easier and a whole lot cheaper? Introducing Falaya. From virtual tours to push-button offers, Falaya is redefining how real estate is sold. If you want more information, you can go online to falaya.com. That is Falaya. It's just like the suffix of a Chafalaya. Falaya.com. Or download the app at Falaya app. Search them inside of your app store, whether it's Apple, Android. They can get you set up. Get in touch with Barrett Blondo, Falaya.com. A man is changing the game in real estate right here in the Baton Rouge area. It is a sell your house by yourself. It's a do-it-yourself for selling your home that you can learn about online at Falaya.com. We'll come back and close out hour number one. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com.
Do you want to sponsor the Jordy Culotta Show? Contact us at katie@jordyculottashow.com. That's katie@jordyculottashow.com.
Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the Southdown Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Go Chevrolet is under new management, but it's the same old familiar names that you know here from the area. Lee Carney and Nick Richard are up and running in LaPlace, Louisiana, and they want you to stop in today. But if you can't, they'll make it easy for you. They'll come to you. Log online to GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Go Chevrolet is conveniently located on Airline Highway in LaPlace, Louisiana. Shop all the inventory, whether it's new or pre-owned, at GoChevrolet.com. That's GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Dr. James Johnson and Dr. Chad Spillers of Johnson and Spillers Dentistry, with 2 locations, one in Gonzales and one in Baton Rouge between Segan Lane and Bluebonnet, offer everything from ceramic crowns to pediatric dentistry, dental cleanings, Botox, extractions. They're online at johnsonspillers.com. Located in Gonzales and in Baton Rouge, seeing both new patients and existing patients. Log online to johnsonspillers.com.
If you missed the show, you can always check out our podcast, brought to you by RMB Builders, on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you can listen to podcasts.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. You see this story over in Jackson, Mississippi, as Pro Football Hall of Famer Deion Sanders made his debut as the coach for the Jackson State Tigers on Sunday against an NAIA program, Edward Waters, where Jackson State won 53-0. Sanders, who played Major League Baseball, played Major League Football, was his first time as a head coach at the collegiate level. He had spent the previous 3 seasons as an offensive coordinator for a major high school over in Dallas. Sanders was celebrating the win with his team on the field. Following the game, he got doused in the Gatorade, and then he went into the locker room to find out that some of his personal items had been stolen during the game. And Sanders, who was very visibly upset, said, for one, the kids played really well, but while the game was going on, someone came in and stole every darn thing I have in the coach's office: my credit cards, my wallet, my watches. He said, "Thank God I had on my necklaces."
I love that.
Yeah. And he touches his chest to make sure they're there. He's like, "Thank God I had my
That's
necklaces on."
100% the most expensive thing he
Yes.
has.
Yeah.
For sure.
The school later confirmed to ESPN that Sanders' items were misplaced, and he had that they had been found. But Sanders disputed that in a tweet, saying on Sunday, "Whomever put out the line saying that my belongings weren't stolen is lying," in all caps. "My belongings were taken out of a zipped bag in my office, and more items were taken as well from my office. We have retrieved them since being reported. My staff members witnessed the crime. Hashtag truth."
Dude, they had it all wrapped up, bow and a ribbon for him, and it was all clean and nice. And he was like, "Oh, no, they were definitely stolen."
Well, I think this goes into what we talked a little bit about pre-show today, is that Deion Sanders, and we saw this a couple of weeks back, and this is why we're huge fans of his, was that he was coaching the equipment room at Jackson State just a few weeks ago because of their attitude, the way that they had allowed that workspace to become so dirty and grimy. And he put together a video of the kids who had, kind of bought into the discipline that he was putting forth in that program and how it had paid off in the equipment room. And you could just see the positive story that was coming from there. And we highlighted that, saying that I think that this is why you hire Deion Sanders. That you don't hire Deion Sanders to instantly improve your football program, which he is going to do immediately, right? I mean, he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He's he's arguably the best defender to ever play the sport in all, in NFL history. Definitely the best cornerback, or in the discussion of a defensive back, who's the best. But I think that he's not only creating a culture around the Jackson State football program, he's almost rebuilding the the that city.
And I love it.
Me too.
I love every bit of it.
Yes, I mean,
Scary as
you know
hell.
about Jackson.
I was scared to death every day of my life.
Yeah, it is a scary place, and I think that Sanders, he called it a little bit out in his post game presser yesterday, talking about not only do the football players have to be accountable and be better every day, not only do the staffs and the teachers, professors, and the advisors and everybody on campus, but the security people, the ticket takers, the concession workers, everybody that has anything or any hand in Jackson State football, he is trying to squeeze accountability out of. And I don't think that it was a coincidence that after he went to that press conference and showed how he really felt about it, that those things just kind of magically reappeared.
Right.
You know what I mean? That they just mysteriously just kind of pop back up.
It's one of the few times whenever they're like, if you tell us now, you won't get in trouble.
Yes.
It's
Right.
Like, all right.
We know somebody in here stole it.
It's a black card. It's the only one in the building.
We're either going to check your pockets or we're all going to turn around and somebody's going to put it on the desk.
Yeah.
Raynard Francois in the bunker talking about this is the second time in 3 months that he's been robbed. Didn't he get something got taken from him a couple months ago? I think I remember that.
I don't know, but I mean, it would.
Bro, y'all barking up the wrong tree with Deion Sanders. If you don't think he knows somebody that knows somebody,
I mean, dude,
good God.
Come on.
Definitely, Stutter Bob says it's an inside job, without question. I think it showed it was an inside job when it got back to Deion.
He's from the coach's office, so
Yes. All right. Let's see if we can't hook up with Derek Stingley Sr. here, as he is a weekly Monday guest for us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. I messed that up. I actually called him and then I hung up. So I think he's trying to call us back right now. So now we're playing like this phone
Little
wall.
cute game of phone tag.
Yeah, where he's calling me,
Hey,
I'm
Sting.
calling him. All right, I'm
Jordy.
going to try to call him, but this is probably not going to work. It's probably going to go straight to voicemail. Coach,
Doc?
hold on 1 second. Are you up over there?
Oh, yeah.
Coach?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Hey, there he is.
All right. Sorry about that. That was my fault. Good weekend, Coach. How are you?
Things are good. I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Derek Stingley Sr. joining us here just like he does every Monday morning. It's baseball season, Coach, and one thing that we don't talk to you about is your professional baseball life. I think everybody recognizes you as a premier athlete, a football coach. Your son obviously has the accolades and the attention that he gets in college football today. But tell our listeners, you were at one point had aspirations and actually did work out with Major League Baseball and have a shot with the Philadelphia Phillies. Explain how baseball is also a love of the Stingley family.
Well, that's true. I played 3 years in the minor league system for the Philadelphia Phillies from 90. Oh God, when did I get drafted? 93, 94, 95. Yeah, those 3 seasons. It all started for me as a young boy. In Chicago, basketball is the first sport. Baseball is the second sport, and that's where I'm from. So we just did a lot of like Little League. We call it Connie Mac League. It was just different levels of age groups. And I just did it just to be doing it because a lot of my other friends was doing it. And next thing you know, I became real good at it. I mean, it's a tough sport. I mean, it's a game of failure, but at the same time, it's fun to go out there and, hit some line drives, steal some bases. I played the outfield. I was a center fielder. Played that all through high school. Played on the varsity level all 4 years of high school. So it was my sport. At one time, it was actually I played more baseball in high school than I did football. Wow. So baseball became my thing. And then once I got drafted, believe it or not, I got a little bored in the minors. The minors saw you out. So I was like, I have to do something. I said, football is in me, and then I just chose to go back to football, and that's basically how I got back on the path with football.
So just for our listeners who do not know the story, Derek Stingley Sr., his father, Daryl Stingley, was a professional football player and suffered a horrific injury while playing football against the Oakland Raiders in a preseason game and was paralyzed for the rest of his life in that sport. Was that a reaction from that in growing up? Did your dad?
No.
I know your dad did not discourage you to playing football,
right?
But did he encourage you to play other things?
No, my dad supported whatever we chose to do. My other 2 brothers and I. No, because of what happened to my dad, that never turned us away from the sport. My dad always told us, what happened to him was a freak accident. You can't go out there thinking things like that is going to happen to you. Just protect yourself. Understand how to do the right things when you're on a football field. And for me, it was just as simple as, I'm from Chicago. There wasn't many leagues to play youth football, and if you wanted to play youth football and to stay in it like we have it here in Baton Rouge, you have to go out in the suburbs and get there. I'm from downtown Chicago. That's where I live. So we didn't have that. But baseball was everywhere. Basketball was everywhere because, the Jordan Bulls, things like that. So I just got involved in it. And I'm telling you, I did baseball from like 10 years old on up to I retired from baseball in 95.
Did Sting Jr. ever pursue? And was there ever a thought around your son that was going to be anything but football?
Basketball is his second love. He's that.
I bet.
Yeah, he ran track as well. He ran track because I made him run track. I don't think he really wanted to do it. But no, baseball. No, he's not very good in baseball. Here's the reason why. Because doing baseball is naturally in the spring and the summer. I was coaching arena football in the spring and the summer, so he would be with me every spring and summer growing up. So he never had the opportunity to get on anyone's baseball team or travel team or anything like that. It was a couple of times where some guys tried to get him because they knew his athleticism. Sure. Hey man, bring your son out. He can steal bases for us. He can do this. I remember one time we took him out to a park with 2 guys and we tried to throw some batting practice at him. He didn't even hold the bat right. I was like, oh Lord.
Get over there and play cornerback.
Yes, indeed.
Derek Stingley Sr. here with us every week on the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, it seems like they are getting prepared for spring football. It seems like the ball is now rolling downhill and everybody's pointing towards that. What do you make of the personnel on this team, especially defensively? Or let's start in the defensive backfield from a personnel standpoint. It seems like they might have the 2 best corners in college football, obviously with Sting Jr. and then with Elias Ricks, what he was able to show last season. How do you feel about the personnel going into another year under Coach Ed Ogeron?
I mean, you have to feel good about it because now everyone has experience. I mean, you're just gaining more knowledge and you're gaining that confidence to go out there and make more plays. And you look at, towards the latter part of the season, how Jay Ward stepped up, how he became a guy that can make some noise somewhere, and Cordell, I know everyone is saying that he had a rough year, but the nickel position is not one of the easiest positions to play. I don't care where you are, but now he gets another year under his belt with confidence as well. So, I've seen these guys enough during the off season. I've worked them out a few times, and what I see is everyone's coming back better. Everyone's a little faster, a little quicker. You can see it in bouncing their steps. In my opinion, I think the back end is going to be pretty good, and I think even some of those incoming freshmen for the safety positions. I think those guys are going to be good, from Matthew Langwar to Sage Ryan. Those guys are going to make some noise. And, just knowing that you have just about the whole entire defense coming back from last year, that helps big time. I know we didn't play well as a defensive unit, but to have the mass majority of the talent back, that builds some form of camaraderie. The communication will be so much better. Naturally, these guys are already, doing a lot of communicating right now during the little football school that they have right now. So, I think all that's just going to build and build to where we should see a better product out there.
Derek Stingley Sr. joining us here as he's talking a little bit about the personnel groupings going into fall. Safety position, it seems like obviously they had a personnel void there last season. How important is it to get guys like Sage Ryan, who feels like he is he's a day one impact player?
I mean, Sage is one of those guys who you just look at him through high school. He was Mr. Everything for his school. It reminds me of Derek almost, how he was, and you can put Sage in, you can plug him in just about any position, and he'll compete as hard as he could. And in my opinion, he'll make plays out there. So having someone like him out there who's kind of been called upon to do so much, I don't think the lights will be too bright for him. I think if he does get in there day one, that he would show up and that he would play the position and play it well. But, I still think some of those guys from last year, I wouldn't count out Maurice Hampton, to be honest. I think, with the coaching staff we have in now, with the schemes that we're going to put in, I think that he'll be someone that can still say, hey, look, this is my position as well, and I deserve to be here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Mo, because there's a lot of questions about him after opening baseball week and about where he fits in there. And then after his freshman year in football, it looked like he was going to have a really good football life here at LSU. And then last year he ran into a little bit of a question mark on where he fit in. Where does he help LSU best? Where is he at his best when he's playing, in your opinion?
I think right now the safety position for sure, because that's the angles that he's been seeing for the last 2 years on the field. I don't think he should be moved to a corner or a nickel or anything like that. Me personally, I truly believe it was scheme. I truly believe it was lack of communication last year, because we know that Mo is an athlete. Everyone knows that. And just the same as I was saying about Sage and for Derek, for high school, they were everything for their teams. So was Mo Hampton. Mo was that same guy. He played wide receiver, running back, safety, corner, all those things, and made big-time plays. So you don't just stop being an athlete all of a sudden. Sometimes there's some other variables involved, whether it's coaching, whether it's personnel, whether it's scheme, and all those things. So in my opinion, I think we got all that stuff in a better situation for this upcoming year. And you'll see better play out of Mo. It won't just be flashes. In my opinion, I think that he'll be ready to go out there and let everybody know that, like I said before, he deserved to be out there.
Elite Football Academy. Remember, you can find it right here in Baton Rouge and online at Elite Football LA or Elite FB LA. Derek Stingley Sr. over there doing some individual training with the group. What's the biggest technical improvement you want to see from your son from his sophomore to junior season? It always seems like he is very technically sound. What technical improvement do you want to see him make before next year?
The one thing we've been working on a lot is the balls that's been completed on him. And they've been those tough throw balls, meaning those back shoulder throws or those comebacks. Derek does a good job of covering every other route. Those routes there, because they can look like a fade or a go route, and then all of a sudden they snap it off. And that was a route that he somewhat struggled with. You know, he made some plays on them, but those are the plays where, you know, high percentage they've been getting caught on them, and they're like, you know, 8 to 12 yard plays, but those catches matter. So we're working on that. We're working on, you know, the positioning of do we play topside shoulder? Do we play, you know, underneath in the hip? You know, when to get his eyes around, things like that. But that's not bad. It's just that, you know, everybody has a kryptonite that they have to work on. You know, you can you can be Superman on everything else, but there's something that you need to work on with your weaknesses, and that there's something that, you know, I'm trying to get him to do better at. You know, but put it this way: if it's a perfect throw, it's going to be a perfect catch.
Yep.
But if it's a bad throw or off throw, he'll make a play on it. Yeah. So, you know, if we get a good pass rush, we get the quarterback off platform, and he makes a bad throw, that ball can actually go back to pick six, hopefully. You got
to be feeling good about the pass ruch that they have coming back and the guys that they're having.
I feel great about it because the fact that we have all those guys coming back and you know, with the new schemes and things like that, you know, it's going to be like Christmas Day, hopefully. You know, everybody's going to, you know, be waiting to see what we got, and hopefully it's what we expect.
Can you talk about the relationship of the back end to the front end from a coaching standpoint? I mean, I think it makes sense when you just think about it. When there's pressure on the quarterback, it gives the opportunities for the playmakers on the back end enough time to either cover or make plays. But can you talk about the hand-in-hand relationship that survives or that lives between a defensive back and a rush end or a big defensive lineman?
It's huge, and you would want it as you want a better pass rush than a better cover back on the back end. What I mean by that is, give me 4 guys or 3 guys, however you want to call it. Give me 4 guys that can go get the passer. Mm-hmm. Case in point, look at Alabama. They always have a good defensive front, to where on the back end they don't have to play a lot of man covers. They don't have to cover for a long time. They can play like cover 2 or cover 3, where they can keep their eyes on the quarterback to where they can see those bad throws or those errant passes and things like that. But now let's reverse that. Now you give yourself a good back end where the guys are covering, and they're very good at covering, but the pass rush is somewhat okay. But that still puts a strain on the back end. Although they're doing a good job of covering, the pass rush is not getting home as much. But then, yeah, we can get a sack, or we can force quarterback to run out, where, you know, it's average defense. But your best defenses come from when that pass rush is just relentless, and they can get up the field where they're on the line of scrimmage. You want that. You want that from a corner and a safety standpoint. But now just think, if you had both of those, if you had a good pass rush and a great back end, you're a lights-out defense at this point. It's almost nothing that anybody can do. You're shutting teams out. You're keeping them under 10 points a game. And hopefully we have that. And if we do, I mean, it's going to be a whole different ball game out there in Tiger Stadium next year.
At DSting24 is where you follow the coach on Twitter. Every Monday morning you can catch Coach Derek Stingley Sr. right here with us. We will get him back into the undisclosed location at some point, but we always appreciate his time here on the phone. Have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
There's Coach Derek Stingley checking in this morning on this Monday morning. Daily, we're brought to you by AdvanaClean. Remember, water, fire, mold. If you see water, you smell fire, you see mold, get in touch with Bradley Lynch over at AdvanaClean. Last week we stopped by his office. He was loading up an 18-wheeler, heading over to Texas to give his hands and help over there to the crazy weather that's come through Texas. But you can get in touch with him easily if you're in our listening area, if you're listening to our show online at AdvanaClean.com, ADVANTA clean.com. Always tell you about Bradley Lynch. He loves his job. He's passionate about what he does. Water, fire, mold. If you smell it, see it, if you sense it around the house, it's going to be a bad day. But what I can tell you is, as soon as you get in touch with Lynch and his crew at AdvanaClean, they're going to take care of everything. They will work directly with the insurance company. They will make sure that the problem is diagnosed, that they've got the work put in place, and they'll get it taken care of. Online at AdvanaClean.com. Get in touch with Bradley Lynch and tell him you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Get your questions in. Ask the Jordy Culotta Show. Hashtag Ask the JC Show. We will answer them next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented daily by Go Chevrolet. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers, all over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the Southdown Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at rmb-builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. Can you be assured that the air and surfaces in your home are clean, sanitized, and safe for you and your entire family? You can now by logging on to valera.com/Jordy Culotta, where you, your home, your office, your family can be protected 24/7 with active pure technology. This NASA-based science has proven 99.9% reduction of airborne SARS-2 and COVID-19 virus in just 3 minutes. Log on now to valera.com/Jordy Culotta.
Have a late night and can't make it for the Jordy Culotta Show at 7 a.m.? No worries. Catch us on demand on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show as we are presented daily by Go Chevrolet. Remember, if you are in the market, if you want the active pure technology, which is eliminating 99.9% of airborne SARS-2 and COVID-19 virus within 3 minutes, you can learn more about it over online at valera.com. That's VOLLARA, valera.com/Jordy Culotta if you'd like to check out all of the products, and you can buy right there from the online store. Testimonies. This is NASA-based science around this this active pure technology. I won't get too into the weeds on the science, but the gist of it is that it works, and it can help you out. Online at valera.com/Jordy Culotta to learn more. We will talk to Buzzy Haydel in just a couple of minutes here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, if you've got questions, hashtag Ask the Jordy Culotta Show, hashtag Ask the JC Show. Appreciate Tom Hart for stopping by. Appreciate Derek Stingley Sr. for stopping by. Stingley Sr. is a regular Monday here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We will talk to Buzzy Haydel about LSU Baseball. Your questions, we've got some inside of the bunker if you want to get him as.
To Rob Boudreaux first,
Absolutely.
though,
Yeah,
for the
definitely.
Venmo, and he wants a signed drumstick from Nick.
Happy to do it.
Wow.
I'll get
Robbie
you.
Boo.
I'll get you
Celebrity.
a game used stick. How about that?
All
Oh,
right. All right.
chips and all.
Yeah, it's gonna have some. It's
Yeah, a
gonna be
little
flaking
wear
a
and
little
tear
bit.
on that thing.
Yeah,
Well, that's what the fans
a
want.
little messed
Yeah.
up.
Little
we
real
got-
time. All right. Yeah, you got some
Yeah,
questions?
next question. Yeah, Kyle Russo wants to know. Hashtag Ask the JC Show. By the way, like Jordy said, get him in still. I'm monitoring, writing him down. Hashtag Ask the JC Show. Is LSU freshman pitcher Blake Money an early vibe candidate? Yes.
I think so, yes.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Just name alone.
I mean, good Lord. What about the Blake Money? I mean, the name alone, but like you said, he's got some swag to him.
Mm-hmm.
And in our good vibes athletes bracket, I'd imagine that Money could find himself
Up
in
there.
there. Yeah, he could
And
find himself in
his
there.
brother Cash is going to be in there too. Cash Money, bro.
Oh, Cash Money from the
Dude.
Little League World
Come
Series.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his brother. We got hashtag SJC Show from Kenny Stalter. Will we see more live in Debunker guests?
Yes, for sure. In fact, I think we're working on Shea Dixon, getting him in here tomorrow for a extended amount of time.
Let's go.
If you missed it, as we said, Rivers so instrumental on our show getting to this point, and she's still a part of the show. She's just going to be working from more behind the scenes. She's going to be handling the social media. A lot of the stuff that you see happening throughout the day from the Jordy Culotta Show will be originating from Rivers. With just the morning times and kids' responsibilities, she won't be in the studio as much. So we will take that opportunity to bring people in and have them sit in for a while. But we've also got the phones that we can also get to. So yes, we are definitely working on more in-studio guests here at the Undisclosed Location.
Wait, June Sansing, hashtag Ask the JC Show. Get him in, y'all. Get him in. Can we get a new Dickie V-like villain on the show? I don't know if he's a villain as much, really.
Yeah.
Like, he's just our guy. You know?
Yeah, he's our guy. I mean, he hated on LSU for a while.
He'll do it again.
We fought the fight. I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll have to get into the ring at some point again. But it's always fun with
You get
Dickie
to
V.
spar with an 80-year-old man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Couple
that's,
jabs.
That's my demographic. That's my demographic.
Getting him fresh, too. He holds that voice until the broadcast,
Yeah.
right? So we're getting him fresh.
That's right.
But yeah, our guy. Greg Lehman, hashtag Ask the JC Show. Jordy, you lived this one, so I think you've got a good answer ready for this. Would you rather have no electricity or no water?
The no water thing is brutal.
New water's
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
you,
like,
you got that
electricity.
first
You
hand.
are
No
truly
electricity.
like.
On an island.
I mean, you're back to like some medieval times.
It's
With
rough.
no running water. I mean, like,
Yes.
no electricity. All right, you sound a little bratty bitching about that. But I mean, the water thing. I mean, you forget that you can't use the toilet.
right.
Like, I mean, that's something like you
Well,
don't
you can't
realize.
bathe, you can't get a shower.
Well, the shower thing's the obvious one.
I mean, I didn't even lose water the last week, but I lost like the hot water in my
Oh,
shower,
hot water.
and
Yes.
and
That's why
I,
I was showering in
the,
Max
the
Hudson.
second you turn, you're not mentally prepared for the second that you turn that freaking handle,
Yeah.
and nothing comes out. You're like,
Oh.
what? Like, this is just not something I'm ready to do.
And it makes that sound. That's what
Yeah,
hit me.
yeah.
I mean, I hit it at like 4:45 in the morning. Just usually have this routine where I turn the shower on, let the water get real heated
Yeah.
before I step in. And I mean, when I went to flip it, it was like,
no, it's like,
I was like,
Both
holy
hands,
shit.
like,
like,
oh,
Coach, I'm
no.
not
That
ready.
don't sound right.
I'm not ready,
That don't
Coach.
sound right. And
these
it is
clothes back
freezing
on.
in here. How do we get the hot water out?
Guess
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
just get dressed.
and that's another thing. Like the realization process is so much more brutal than the
mentally
electricity.
taxing.
no, it's
You know what I
way
mean? Like,
way
you
worse.
can have a clock blinking, you can have a clock out, you can go to sleep with a light on that you
Right.
wake up that's not there, so you know, all right, well, something's up. We're
Right,
without
right.
electricity.
Exactly.
Let me get up and go get at least a glass of water to try to think this thing
Yeah,
out.
I know, yeah, right,
You know what
right,
I mean?
right.
I mean,
Yeah, Coach, I need
let me
it.
think this thing out over a big glass of water.
Yeah.
And then get to the water, and I mean, you're just,
Like,
I'm out, bro. I'm
my
out,
gosh.
man.
Yeah.
Somebody asking about the status of the couch. We did not rule on that over
Yeah,
the
Yeah, we
weekend.
did.
decided.
What did the poll say?
Red-
did the
red-
poll go red?
Red had a pretty commanding
went red.
lead the last time I
Poll went
checked.
red.
I mean, I think you get a little bit more, like you get the pop that the blue couch offers
Yeah.
with a little bit of pattern, a little bit more character to it. I like the red. I'm a red guy. I like the red.
Okay, it's fair. I mean, we've heard people, and we'll answer more questions coming up here. We'll link up with Buzzy Haydel in a minute. We're brought to you by Johnson and Spillers Dentistry. And remember, you can get in touch with Dr. Johnson and Dr. Chad Spillers today. Location in Baton Rouge, location in Gonzales. They offer everything that you would be looking for in a dentist. They offer pediatric dentistry. They can help you out with all your crowns, your moldings, your fillings. They can also help you out with, if you're looking for Botox, our giveaway a couple of weeks back for our Valentine's giveaway featured the Johnson & Spillers Botox and teeth whitening offer that they were serving up over at Johnson & Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. Yes.
We'll live stream it.
I don't know if I can handle watching
I'll
that
take a shot in the ear. I don't know what it'll do.
Why not?
We'll do it.
Put it in my biceps.
Around the eyes? All right, let's see if we can't link up with Buzzy here, who was on one of the calls this weekend for the LSU Sports Radio Network. We'll ask him his thoughts on this squad. Go ahead and pipe him up if you could. Buzz, you there?
Oh yeah,
Coach, we're live. We're live. Don't say anything that you would regret that the public would hear.
No, this isn't Doug Thompson. I know when the phone gets on.
That's
it's classy.
We love that. Points for you right off the top of this interview. Anytime you can take a shot at Thompson, the craziest little league coach in our city, and it's not even close. We love you for it. Buzz, how was the weekend?
Well, it was good. I mean, we finally got most of this cold spell out of here, and so it was fun to be back at the box. Seemed like a little bit of normalcy back in our lives. Other than yesterday's game, which really just came down to one inning that LSU played bad. It was a fun weekend, and we saw a lot of good things from LSU. And of course, they got that game this evening, but some things to be concerned about, and I know we'll talk about that as well. But all in all, fun to be back at the box, and it was fun to call the game with Doug on Saturday, and then it was Chris and I yesterday. So a lot to look forward to this year.
I think what you saw on Saturday, everybody's buzzing about Jaden Hill and the four he threw. He showed it all. 98-mile-an-hour fastball, the changeup that the entire country is talking about. How good is the ace of LSU staff from what you saw after one game?
Yeah, I mean, he's as good as advertised. He's as good as anybody in the country. And I mean, he's going to need to be too, Jordy, because the SEC is going to be it's so loaded this year. It's incredible. I mean, you're going to when you see some of these arms that when it gets to that point, obviously we've got a few weeks left, but when you see some of these arms that Vanderbilt's going to run out there, Mississippi State, Alabama's got a kid who's just been unhittable, lately. So, he's going to have to be what we think he is and what we know he is. But see, the thing is, Jordy, we've known the talent's been there. I mean, he's throwing 97, throwing 98. He's always had high velocity, and it's just what happens when we feel a little something in the right arm, and we've got to shut him down for 10 days, 14 days, and we lose a couple starts from him in the middle of the year. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is we know the talent's there. If he can stay healthy, he's gonna make himself a lot of money. And just to piggyback a little bit what I'm talking about, I don't blame the kid or his people or Coach Manera or anybody for when he feels something shutting him down. I want to be clear about that. I mean, you're talking about. I mean, God knows how much money's in that right arm, Joe. I mean, Tatis just signed a $340 million deal with the Padres for 14 years. I mean, by the time Hill gets there, he's liable to, sign a $500 million deal. So no telling how many millions of dollars in that arm. I would be cautious with him too. I'm just telling you, for LSU's sake, he needs to stay healthy. And if he does, we're going to witness something very special this year by that young man.
Dylan Cruz pops one yesterday. Zach Arnold hit one on Saturday. What did you make of the lineup after seeing them for 18 innings?
Yeah, that's a big concern for LSU this year going in was, were they going to be able to hit enough? We know they're going to pitch it. We loved Hill on Saturday. It was the first day, but Saturday we loved Marceau yesterday. Labus is going to be good tonight. It's just the bullpen's great, but can they hit enough in the lineup? Can they score enough runs? And it ain't going to have to be a bunch, Jordy. I mean, they're not going to have to score a lot of runs to be successful, but can they score enough? And I think Cruz, you saw this the last couple of days. Cruz was great. He hit the ball out of the ballpark yesterday. He had a couple hits on Saturday. He's going to be fine, and he's only going to get better the more at-bats he sees, the more, repetitions he gets in college baseball. Beloso, hadn't swung it great over the last couple of days, but I'm not concerned about Cade. Trey Morgan was good. Zach Arnold showed some pop. He's a guy that they were high on last year, and was just about healthy and coming back when the pandemic hit and they shut everything down. So the couple guys, and I said this on the broadcast, Jordy, the couple guys for me that are keys, and you hate to put so much pressure on a couple guys by naming them out, but the 2-3 guys for me is Cade Doty. Mm-hmm. Doty's a guy that has to hit for this offense to do the things that we think they can do. Doty and Dugas, and you can really Dugas and Bianco, you can kind of put them in the same group. Yeah. Now that the Giacomo's, we don't know the extent of his injury or how long he's going to be out, but the Giacomo went out yesterday. So now that the Giacomo's out, you really got to have Bianco or Dugas or one of those guys really step up and make the jump. The talent's there. They've been here for a few years now. They need to make the jump and show some something on the offensively to help this team. But Doty's a guy too that Ben McDonald and I were talking. I said, and Ben said the same thing. He said, guys like Doty, it's tough because last year was their freshman year. Last year was when they were supposed to have the growing pains, right? Have the struggle a little bit and figure out how college baseball works. Well, they didn't have a season last year. I mean, they only had a few weeks. So this year, it's almost like they don't have that time to go through the growing pains. They just need to get after it right away. And so that's what's going to be tough. But they're going to have to hit more than they did these last couple of days for sure. And again, it ain't going to have to be a lot, but it's going to need to be more than 6 hits a game. And, the first game on Saturday, I think they drew 11 walks, from Air Force pitching. That's great. I mean, we get on base any way we can, but they just didn't get the big clutch hits and drive in the run. And with all that being said, it's only 2 games into the season. We don't need to hit any panic button yet, but they're certainly going to have to figure out some things offensively if they want to be an elite ball club.
You mentioned DiGiacomo and nothing official on what his status is or how much time he could miss. What do they lose without him? And I know you touched on it a little bit in your answer there, but who are some of the key figures that would have to step up in his absence?
Well, so they really he's become an elite defensive player. In center field. Think about over the last. Heck, you could probably go the last 20, 30 years of LSU baseball and think of all the great center fielders. But just think in the last, since Paul Manero's been there, last 15 years with, Mikey Matuk and when Leon Landry was roaming the field out there and, Andrew Stevenson. Yeah. You could go on and on. It's just, there was that's always been a position, much like shortstop. That's why this year is a little odd because you've always known that we're plugging this guy in the shortstop and he's going to be our guy. And we know what we're going to get from him with Nola and Bregman and LeMahieu and, all these guys, Kramer Robertson, So that's what you got from center field is you knew you were plugging him into the lineup every day. He was going to probably save more runs than he was going to drive in from an offensive standpoint. But also offensively, you as a guy that can really run. And I think, last year he was starting to come around. When the season ended, he was hitting well over 300. And he was a guy that was figuring it out and I think was going to be a really big piece to this offense. Hitting from an average standpoint, he was going to steal your bag, and he was just going to be havoc on the base pass. Well, with him out, and we don't know how long, that somebody's got to take the place. Bianco, when he got hurt yesterday, they actually moved Bianco to center field. I don't know if that's going to be a permanent thing where they think Bianco can play center field, or do they try to put Beloso in left and then maybe a Cruz in center and then figure out a DH spot? So they've got some options. Arnold seems like as of now he's starting to, he's kind of, it's early, don't get me wrong, but he's going to be kind of the guy that they probably put at shortstop and say like, just it's yours, to lose. So just go out there and do your thing, keep hitting. The main thing is defense. So at this point, that's what's so tough about what they got going on the left side of the infield right now is they got to have guys that can catch the baseball, especially with the way we can pitch it. And if we think it's going to be low scoring games, essentially the ninth inning cost them yesterday, but if they catch the baseball on the left side of the infield yesterday, they don't even get to the ninth inning and the game's probably, the game's over with. So defense, Coach Manero's always been high on defense, especially from third base and shortstop. And so you got to have somebody over there that can catch the baseball.
Everybody talked about Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan from this recruiting class. Both those guys made impacts over the weekend. Who were some of the young faces and new faces that stood out?
Yeah, so another guy that they brought in on Saturday, his last name's Edwards, from central Louisiana area, and he was actually coached by J.C. Holtz, was his high school coach, the former LSU Tiger. And Edwards was a two-sport athlete out of high school. He's a basketball guy, too, and apparently a really good one. But he came in relief on Saturday and threw the ball well. The radar gun had actually wasn't working during the inning. He came in, but, I mean, it looked like the ball was jumping out of his hand. And he threw a clean inning Saturday. On Sunday, Jordy, remember I'm telling you this name. I don't know if you saw the game or listened. They brought a guy in by the name of Blake. You ready for it?
Yeah, Blake money, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I mean, I don't even want to call him Blake. I just money with the fastball there. Money. I mean, it's just so clean off the lips there. I mean, just
yes.
6'7". I saw two weights listed for him, Jordy. 245, and the other one said 267. So we'll just go with 245 plus. Okay. I mean, this dude's got hair down to his middle of his back. He's 6'7", 245 plus, and it just rocks and fires. And what I like about him, big guys, sometimes it's hard to sync up that big body and get in the zone. I mean, this guy was just pounding the strike zone. He looked mean. Just everything you want in a relief pitcher, kind of, Zach Keshish from a few years ago. And I mean, it was fun to watch him. He's a freshman. So you got a couple guys out of the bullpen. They brought the Floyd kid in yesterday to try to close the game. He struck out the first guy, ball jumping out of his hand, 93, 4, 5 miles an hour. He ended up walking a couple guys, and then they had to pull him. And so it ended up not being a great outing, but this guy they're very high on and is going to make an impact this year. So those are just a few guys, out of the bullpen and from a pitching standpoint that we know about the regulars, right? We know about the Hill, Marceau's, Labus, Fontenot's, Beck. We can go on and on about all the veteran pitchers, but those are three guys, freshman guys out of the bullpen that I was very impressed with and look forward to seeing them continue to get innings because I think they're going to be big pieces as well. But, yeah, Cruz and Morgan, or they were as advertised, and again, they're going to have to be good. And it's not. We've seen the Bregmans. We've seen a lot of freshmen be really good as soon as they step on campus. But it's a tough task to ask of freshmen to come in. But they're going to need to be really good for this offense to score the runs that they're going to need to score.
What does the confidence do for a pitcher to have a guy like Alex Milazzo behind the plate, and how good is this? I mean, he seems like he could be a top catcher that LSU's had in a long time.
Yeah, I said it on broadcast. If Alex Milazzo could hit, he could not get a hit all year, and I don't think I'd ever take him out of the lineup. He literally could hit zero all year, and that's how good he is behind the plate, and that's what he does for this pitching staff. As long as the pitchers give him, they don't have to have a quick move to the plate. They just got to be not slow. They just have to be okay to the plate. He's going to throw a lot of guys out. He threw one out on Saturday. As good as his arm is, Jordy, the transfer, which is equally as important, and the footwork is just as good, if not better. Balls in the dirt, he's able to block out or block up, I should say. Yeah, with guys on third base, for you to know that you can bury a curveball and some of these guys, Jaden Hill and Marceau throwing these slider breaking pitches at 84 and 5 miles an hour. I mean, some guys don't even throw their fastball that hard. And for Milazzo just to block it up and stay right on. I mean, that's so much. That's huge. That's all the confidence in the world because now as a pitcher, you're not handicapped into throwing certain pitches because you don't have enough trust in your catcher. So he's going to be a staple back there. I'm glad he's a Tiger. And again, what he's going to do from controlling the running game is probably more important than, hitting over 300 or hitting 10, 15 homers. I mean, literally anything you get from him offensively is just land yap because what he does behind the plate, the confidence the pitchers have. Look, I remember it just a little bit of pitching I did when Gibbs was back there, and I thought Gibbs was as good as anybody that's come through LSU in a long time behind the plate. I mean, you just felt like, the receiving, the way they manage the game, everything about the catcher, the catching position just gives the pitcher a lot of confidence.
Buzzy, great call over the weekend. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon, man. Thank you for the time.
Yeah. Okay, George. Thanks, guys.
You got it. There's Buzzy Haydel checking in. We'll be back and close it out. Hey, you know it's no secret what we got going over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We're trying to disrupt how media and advertising moves forward. My friend of over 35 years, Barrett Blondo, is doing the same thing for real estate with his new company, Falaya. I met with him in his own personal undisclosed location, and I got to see firsthand what Falaya has been doing and what he's been working on. It blew my mind, man. They are putting all the tools once reserved for professionals right in the hands of the homeowner. It's basically for sale by owner on steroids. For more information, give my guy Barrett Blondo a call today at 225-939-6153 or visit him at Falaya. That's FALAYA.com for more info. Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. Changing the game in real estate. Every time we talk to LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on the Jordy Culotta Show, it's brought to you by Phil's Oyster Bar. Some exciting new things coming up at Phil's here during the Lenten season, including featuring new seafood specials every Friday, in addition to the seafood-filled menu over there. And they're offering up brunch right now on Saturday and Sundays, which will have bottomless mimosas. Don't forget Monday night 50-cent oysters and $2 draft beers. All over at Phil's Oyster Bar. Check them out. They're online at philsoysterbar.com, but they're located in the Southdown Shopping Center, a staple here in Baton Rouge for a long time. Go tell Anthony Piazza and the crew hello. Phil's Oyster Bar. Hey, if you're in the market for a custom home, get in touch with our friend Rhett Bourgeois over at RMB Builders. They're online at RMB-Builders, and Rhett can do just about anything you need around the house. He can build you a new one. He can repair the one you're in. He can remodel. If you need commercial construction help, he's licensed for commercial as well. He can handle an office renovation, building maintenance. Check out everything. It's online at rmb-builders.com. He's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can find him at the handle at RMB Builders LLC. But the website is fantastic. Check him out, rmb-builders.com. Can you be assured that the air and surfaces in your home are clean, sanitized, and safe for you and your entire family? You can now by logging on to valera.com/Jordy Culotta, where you, your home, your office, your family can be protected 24/7 with active pure technology. This NASA-based science has proven 99.9% reduction of airborne SARS-2 and COVID-19 virus in just 3 minutes. Log on now to valera.com/Jordy Culotta.
Have a late night and can't make it for the Jordy Culotta Show at 7 a.m.? No worries. Catch us on demand on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show with Rivers Huey, presented by Go Chevrolet.
Hey, we're back.
Welcome back. What a break. Sheesh.
Put the camera up for that one.
Any more questions?
Have a great day.
I mean, I had a couple more questions for Buzzy. That's never happened to me, ever. Ever. As long as I've been doing
Yeah, you cut that off real
public. Yeah,
I
I mean,
kind of shocked him.
I could tell Buzzy was like, all right, coach.
Yeah,
All right, man. I'll see you later. And I hated to. I wanted to like make a joke in that moment, but I couldn't. because I just got up and puked. It just like I could feel it. I thought it was gonna happen on the broadcast. I thought it was gonna actually happen.
That'd have been a great
Oh my God.
We could use the clicks.
So
could
glad.
use the
Oh my
clicks.
God.
We could use the clicks. But it was a hell of a break. It was a hell of a break. Thank you, Buzz. I'm sorry that I cut you off. I had a couple more questions for you.
Couldn't get to him.
Yeah, we couldn't get to
Yeah,
him.
you can
We
do it.
couldn't get
Next
to him.
time.
Any more questions?
Not that I can actually have been signed out of the Google Doc.
Oh.
I don't know why. I don't know why that happened.
All right, so thank you to everybody who has been here today, especially Buzzy Haydel for talking some LSU baseball. Tom Hart was great talking LSU basketball in hour number 1, and then Derek Stingley Sr., who was here for the 8 o'clock segment, just like he is every week. We appreciate everybody for interacting. We talked a little bit about this at the top of the show, but what a win for the New Orleans Pelicans yesterday. Maybe the best win in the franchise. I mean, in the franchise history. I mean, at least regular season.
Yeah.
When you talk about regular season, I mean, they were down huge going into the fourth quarter, 24 points down in the third when they began to rally. Zion had 28 points, 24 of those came after halftime in the second round. He had in the second half. He had 10 boards, 4 assists. He had a block, and I thought more importantly, Stan Van Gundy drew up the play at the end of regulation
Right.
for him. I mean, you know, like I think Brandon Ingram would probably be the top selection just in the huddle when you're looking at and evaluating who gives you the best chance to do this. But you could see that meant a lot to Zion as far as his confidence went. So, I mean, he bodied Tristan Thompson.
Oh my God.
I mean,
personal.
bro,
It's
like that was embarrassing, and you could almost see Thompson like coming back to the bench. I mean, he was like, I don't know what else I could have done. I don't know what else I could have done. I mean, it was like I just got ran over. Zion was in the air when he hit him.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the ground.
No.
He didn't put his shoulder into him.
That's that ass, baby.
He jumped, and Tristan Thompson tried to guard him in the air, and he got knocked off of his feet. Like, Tristan Thompson probably weighs 260.
Oh, he ain't no little guy.
265. I mean, he looked like me in the paint. He got bounced around like, I mean, it was mouse in the house, man. I mean,
That's anybody with Zion, though, in the paint.
Yeah.
And everybody's a mouse in the house.
Yep.
I mean, when he gets the ball at the top of the key and goes isolation, man, I mean, it was over. I mean, it was like an AAU basketball game in the NBA. I mean, everybody just clears out. He goes one down. It was
Well, then they do it
was
again,
crazy.
and that leads to the pass to Ingram to kind of seal the game. So a lot of things you can do in the paint if people want to get in there.
I mean,
How'd y'all feel about the unis?
Yeah, I saw Greg Lehman put that in the bunker. I'm not a
Me
fan.
either.
I don't
I
like
don't
him.
mind him. I don't think they can do the Mardi Gras ones just because of where we are. It just brings
Yeah.
up, it's a bad feeling when you see those Mardi Gras colors when there's
Yeah.
no Mardi Gras.
And
So,
everybody's
yeah.
going to talk about Ingram. Everybody's going to talk about Zion. People are going to talk about Ball. But Josh Hart deserves a ton of
Yeah,
credit
definitely.
for how this team is playing. And he is just he is a ball of energy. He gives you he just gives you a chance. In fact, Randy Landwell says Josh Hart is the Darius Days of the Pelicans, and I mean that's a great comparison.
it is.
I mean, you take days off the floor against LSU for LSU, and they are a totally different team.
it's the defensive effort, too.
Yeah,
It
it is.
kind of makes you if you're on that team, you don't want to be the guy that's not playing defense when he's on the court because he's going to let you know about it.
Right.
So they'll host Detroit Wednesday night. Jason Tatum's a baller too, man, for Boston as he was he had 32-9. That runner he made, I mean, going left with the right floater in Zion's face.
Cash.
That is so hard. That's probably, if it's not the hardest shot in basketball, it's argued that it could be.
Yeah.
Going to your left, floating with your right. And he made that look simple at the end of regulation yesterday. But it was a great win by the Pelicans, and they'll host Detroit on Wednesday. Everybody okay with getting out of here a few minutes
Yeah,
early?
it's
I
fine.
think they'd understand.
Yeah?
Yeah, we get it.
All right. Appreciate everybody for their interaction. Remember the podcast, RMB Builders is bringing you our podcast. RMB Builders, 921-7062. Get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois today. Appreciate all the interaction. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.